Thank the Secretary of Petroleum. I assure you, without Captain Mahmood, this would not have been possible. When I say this, I don't mean the conference. I mean all the work that we've jointly done and the tag team that we were able to build together. I'm very grateful for that. So thank you very much. My friend Sidra was giving the introduction and she said, what have we been waiting for? 70 years. 70 years, and really, what have we been waiting for? We have a very simple dream. Our Prime Minister has a very simple dream. That dream is about prosperity, it's about growth, it's about development, and most importantly, it's about equity. Equity for regions which have been left behind in the race for development. So equity is the centerpiece of our dream. Prosperity, growth, happiness, and equity. Some sensible justice, particularly for the poorest people of Pakistan, is the dream that our Prime Minister handed over to us. How would this dream translate forward? We need to have employment. We're a poor country and we need massive employment, and we need middle-skilled or low-skilled employment so that people can take care of their families, people can invest in their children's well-being, people can service their parents. And that's what this is all about. It's not about minerals. Minerals is just one of the tools that we're going to deploy to achieve this vision. Next slide, please. So in order for us to move towards this vision, what is it that we have? Ladies and gentlemen, we have about $6 trillion worth of estimated reserves of mineral and coal and other precious metals. Rare earth metals, gold, copper, lithium. Not billion dollars. And I've been challenged on this, and I stand by it. That our estimated reserves, estimated of course, because we have to do exploration, we have to move forward, and we'd give you a pathway of how we're going to get there, but it's worth $6 trillion. We believe, our very dear friend believes, that one of the greatest revolutions, economic revolutions, has been led by the United States of America through innovation, through creativity, through ingenuity. And the icons of that ingenuity and creativity are Apple and Google and Amazon and a bunch of other great companies of this century. The collective value of Apple, each one of you is carrying one of their little gadgetry somewhere. It's a watch, it's a phone, it's something. And not just you, people world over. The collective net value of Google and Apple and Amazon is $6 trillion. And our dust buried in Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Azad Jammu Kashmir and Gilgit Baltistan and Punjab and Sindh is $6 trillion. That's the kind of wealth that we've been sitting on for 70 long years. Next slide, please. If this is what we have, where exactly do we want to go? Where do we want to take it? What is our aspiration? So what we want to do is move from about $1 billion in exports to over $5 billion in exports in the next few years. What we want to do is create employment from 300,000 total employment in Pakistan across all kinds of minerals, mining, move from 300, double it from 300,000 to 500,000, 600,000, and as we unleash it, it would go to millions, because mining is what? Mining is nothing but employment. You put your little kind of shovel in the earth and you start to mine out. It's labor intensive. And that's exactly what we need. Something that's labor intensive. Something that gives employment to our people. And we not only want to just mine it out, we just don't want dust. We want to move from dust to development. So we are going to do value-added activities, and we are going to move from 1% of the GDP in a very short period of time to 3% of the GDP, and inshallah moving forward much, much more. If I move this needle just from 3% to 5%, all of these numbers change. If GDP, if the value addition increases from 1% to 3% to 5%, all of these numbers of employment and so on and so forth double. And that's the prosperity that we are seeking. That is the direction in which we are going. And that is what Pakistan should be and must be and is going to be about. Next slide, please. So then the question arises, what stands in our way? And what stands in our way are very simple things. First of all, we have dearth of data. We have preliminary data, but we don't have exploratory data. We don't have confirmed data. So when we invite our investors, we'd like to pitch to them sell-side books which have science-based evidence that shows them how much wealth can be generated from the dust that we have in the country. And I'm pretty sure Mark is going to today talk about the dust that we have and the value that that dust entails and the direction in which Rico Dick and the leadership of Barrick Gold is going to take it. And there are at least 10 Marks sitting in this room. And we'd like to invite them all to Pakistan. And we'd like them to invest with us, with all of us, jointly, towards this journey of prosperity. We have divergent regulatory regimes. We have certain rules which are district-based, some provincial, some federal, some security-based. And it's impossible to put our arms around these disharmonized regulatory regimes. And the last problem that we have is that we need to be in the imagination of our investors. The lull that Pakistan has seen over the past few years, the quiet, as I said, look at the wealth that we have and look at how long we've been sitting on it. If you look at that, you begin to see that the only problem that we have is confidence, this belief. I mean, Pakistan on the radar as the destination site for investments. And we need to work on that. Next slide, please. How are we going to get over these hurdles and achieve our goals? We have a very clearly laid out strategy. We're going to build clusters, and we're going to do three things towards building clusters. We're going to seed mining as we have and as we are today. We're going to develop the infrastructure, and then we're going to move from mining to smelting as our friends Ma'aden leadership did. And from there, we're going to build up industrial clusters, small industrial clusters. Rather than selling dust for $100, rather than selling mined metal for $1,000, we'd much rather sell industrial goods for $10,000. That's basically how much value is created in moving downstreams. And Pakistan is committed, absolutely committed to moving downstreams. We would have our investors walk with us and we'll hold their hands and we'll walk them through this pathway of wealth creation. From mining to smelting to industrial clusters, indigenous industrial clusters supported by our local talent, supported by our local companies. The second tenet or pillar of our strategy, so this is how we're going to build clusters or do value addition. This is the first pillar of our strategy. The second pillar of our strategy is to ease the regulatory burden. The regulatory burden that we have, if you translate that into dollars, the red tapeism that we have in the country is debilitating. And we are going to crush it. And you shall see that. And you have already begun to see that. In this journey towards the prosperity of the poor, we're not going to let anyone stand in our way, and all red tapeism would be cut. And we're going to do three things in that. One, we're going to harmonize all regulatory regimes. The district, the tehsil, the provincial, the federal, they're all going to be harmonized. They're going to be 7 bullet points. Any investor who wants to come knows exactly what are the 7 things and not 700 things that they need to do. Number 2, before you put the shovel in the ground, you will swear by the shovel and you'd swear by your sweat that you're going to take care of the community. You're going to take care of the people who get into mining. Mining has some of the lowest standards of health and safety and environment. And we are committed that we are going to have the highest standards. And we're inspired by Finland, which wanted to protect its forests. And it came up with the highest standards of environment about 20, 25 years ago. And right now, they are the world's largest or one of the largest exporters of environmental technology. We are going to take care of our people, our children. We're going to have the world's highest standards of health and safety and occupational kind of dignity. And we are going to take care of our environment. That's the second pillar of our strategy. We're going to harmonize and we're going to humanize. And the last part is that we're going to deregulate. So these are the 3 stages in which we are going to move from harmonization to humanization to deregulation, complete deregulation of the sector so that wealth can be created. And finally, we are going to win your confidence. Today is day 0. We stand here, the Prime Minister of Pakistan stands here and lays the red carpet for you today. And we promise to you that we shall win your confidence no matter what it takes. We would not tell you what we will do. We would ask you what it will take, and we will get there. And the three pillars of this strategic thrust are number 1, number 2, number 3, one window operation. Many of you have been asking and ask us as many questions as you have about SIFC. We are going to open just one window. We are not unique in that. Finland has done it, succeeded. Singapore has done it, succeeded. Ireland has done it, succeeded. Australia has done it, succeeded. Their ambassadors are sitting here. Ask them if they have not created this one window operation. Is this unique to Pakistan? This is the key cornerstone of our success. One window operation. An investor doesn't care what is federal and what is district, what is security and what is not. They just need a solution. You come to us, you come to SIFC, we present you with the solution. It's led by the Prime Minister of Pakistan. He's present here. The second pivot is that we are going to give very aggressive financial incentives, fiscal incentives, in order for you to invest. And we are going to guarantee through SIFC, that your investment is secure, that you'd be able to create wealth, you'd be able to take wealth, and you'd be able to create prosperity for the people of Pakistan. And the last part, and perhaps the most important part, is that we are going to move towards eventually diffusion of technology and innovation, and we are going to create a whole ecology of innovation around this dust that we're going to turn into development. Next slide, please. So very quickly, how are we going to, what is our theme for building clusters? Our theme for building clusters, as I've mentioned many times, and is also written all around the walls, is dust to development, not just dust. We promise you today, we promise to our nation, not just dust to development, the entire value chain. We committed to it. In short term, we'd create the national resource map and plans. We'd completely digitize them and transparently put them on every wall in Pakistan. One click away. You go and you find exactly what you need to do and how you're going to do it and how much resource is there and how much value can be created and how. We're going to digitize everything. Within the short term, next couple of years, we're going to sign a couple of contracts. We're committed to them. But as I said earlier, before we sign the contract, as Barrick Gold has committed to us and is already delivering on it, you will have to, before you put the shovel into the ground, you will have to build the road infrastructure, you'll have to build the hospitals, you'll have to build the schools, you'll have to build the skills development programs for that particular community because now you are an official community member. So you will take care of them as you take care of your own children. In the medium term, we're going to build infrastructure. By infrastructure, I mean energy infrastructure, rail infrastructure, road infrastructure. We have SN Iqbal Saab sitting here. I just saw my coach, Dar Saab, sitting here. They know exactly, they've done it before. They know exactly how to build this infrastructure. So we'll build the rail, we'll build the road, we'll build the water infrastructure. And most importantly, we're committed to building the energy infrastructure. We're already looking at geothermal formations so that sustainable energy can be provided for mining and smelting and downstreaming. And we'd produce green energy. The Prime Minister has already launched 10,000 megawatts of green energy plan. Inshallah, moving forward, it's going to expand much farther, and particularly off-grid solutions, particularly very beneficial for mining. We are going to put a sustainable base load and green infrastructure in those areas. And finally, in third phase, as basically we mine more and more, we are going to build up clusters, we're going to build up smelters, we're going to build up small industrial areas, and this is how we are going to move from dust to development. Next slide, please. Our strategy for easing the regulatory frame, as I mentioned earlier, is a simple one: harmonize and humanize. It's as simple as that, and I've spoken about it. I wouldn't take a lot of time. We're going to harmonize, we're going to create world-class standards, but most importantly, we are going to establish a world-class regulator. Because if we are going to deregulate, what we need essentially is a world-class regulator, which only thinks about one thing: the people. The only job that the regulator has is people. And people this regulator shall serve, and then we are going to completely deregulate the sector. And in this process, we're going to make sure that there are enough provisions for indigenization. We're inspired by the hub and spoke model of many countries, where the state enterprises served as hub, and through service level agreements, they improved the performance of all of those small local companies that Ali, you inshallah are going to do. We'd give out contracts to local firms, we'd have service level agreements, and over a period of time we'll build their capability and productivity. And in the long run, we're going to set up the SEZs and EPZs, etc. in that region. Next slide, please. And finally, our strategy for implementation, our strategy for FDI and linkages, as I mentioned to you earlier, is from red tape to red carpet. And today we lay that red carpet in front of you. In short term, we have SIFC, which is an institutional framework, which guarantees you that whatever we are doing shall stay. Because the custodian of SIFC is, with great respect, not just Mian Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif, but the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And whoever the people of Pakistan elect shall have the custody of this SIFC. And all the federal ministers and the security apparatus is going to sit in one room and solve your problems. That's basically the first red carpet that we're laying in front of you. And we have the apex level, we have the executive level, we have the implementation level, and you can ask me as many questions after this presentation is over about them. In phase 2, we are going to create a mineral development fund. Dar Saab has already created a fantastic large fund. Maybe we'll have a small fund of our own underneath that. So we'd have a mineral development fund. We'd build linkages between the academy, between our research institutions, our universities, the government, the private sector. You won't have to go elsewhere. You stay with us. We'll take care of you. That's the message. You have a technical problem, give it to us. We'll solve it. Don't go to technicians. We'll give you PhDs to come solve your problem. And this is how we're going to move forward. We're going to lay not red tape in your way, but red carpet for you, for your investors. Last slide, please. If we did this, what would we have? If we did this, we'd move from inequitable growth to equitable growth. Through this, we will make sure that people, our children, who've been left out in this journey of development and growth, particularly in remote areas of Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and remote areas everywhere, we promise you we'll bring you up. We'll work with you. So we'd move from what currently we see as, our Prime Minister sees as injustice over 70 years, to a fair, equitable development framework. We'd move from unemployment or low employment to massive employment. And massive middles in the short to medium run, low skilled and middle skilled employment, because that's exactly what we need, and that's exactly what minerals and mines provide. And you know what infrastructure is? Infrastructure is employment. If you link 1,000 kilometers from where the mines are to Gawada, what do? You lay a road goes through all of those broken villages, and it takes employment to their doorstep. You build rail. What is rail? Rail is employment. Road is employment. Water is employment. So we create a framework for massive employment everywhere. And finally, all of these imbalances, which I look at small problems, petty nickel-dime problems, we'd solve them. And Pakistan would have as big a surplus as any other great country across this world. We promise you, we're one of them. Along this journey, we welcome you. Along this journey, we promise to our children, we promise to our elders that we'll take care of them. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Musadik Malik, for that very heartfelt, passionate message. You definitely have the ability to move hearts and minds. Ladies and gentlemen, for human life to be tolerable, it cannot be wholly mechanized. And as we speak about the time that has gone by and why we haven't been able to realize our true potential, it kind of reminds me of Paulo Coelho's Alchemist. When you have a dream and you follow that dream along the length and the breadth of the world, looking for that treasure of gold. But you realize that the gold actually lies where the journey started. That's exactly what the story of Pakistan is like. And again, we are inviting the world to come be partners in that, because Pakistan is going to not just change the reality, change the future for the country where we see ourselves as one of the most vulnerable to climate change and impact, to actually making positive impact and helping the world go green. And ladies and gentlemen, that dream has already starting to take shape. As Dr. Musadik was already pointing out, we have some of the most significant global players right now present in this very hall. And we are very happy and honored to also have Barrick Gold Corporation as our partner in putting together Pakistan's landmark Pakistan Minerals Summit for the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take this opportunity now to invite the Chief Executive Officer of Barrick Gold Corporation. Please welcome Dr. Mark Bristow for his address.